morning, guys, or afternoon, wherever you are. This is the Recovery Channel podcast with Dr. Rob, the addiction doctor, along with Jennifer Lovely. We're going to have a great time today, guys. I hope you have a great week and a weekend to come. Morning, Jennifer. How are we doing?
Good morning and happy 4th of July.
Woo,
yes. Yeah.
Yes. I've got my flag up.
Yeah.
My American flag. We're going to do it this year. Yeah. The first year as a citizen. So we've got to make that special effort, I think.
Awesome. Exciting.
Are you doing anything on the 4th?
Yeah, I'm just going to watch some fireworks. I've got some famous photographer I met when I was in Sedona. He's here on the island. So we're going to spend a little time with him.
Nice.
Yeah. So other than that, pretty chilling like a bill.
Yeah, it's the way to be. Been hot here in Texas, guys. Creeping towards 95, getting up to that 3 digits as usual, as you all know. So plenty of pool time whenever I've got time like this in the afternoon. It's been awesome. But listen, guys, I want to tell you something real quick because we are coming towards the time. So I want to tell you about the Ultimate Recovery Coaching and Transformational Program me and Jen do. We're in our second term. It starts on the 7th of August. Now, listen, I've seen thousands, if not millions, of coaching courses. And to be honest with you, I don't know. So we had an idea, me and Jen, of instead of doing a course for coaching, why don't we do like this transformational course that works on you first? So that you might think that's a bit strange, but listen, Jen has a great saying. Your patient will only go as deep as you're willing to go when you've been before. So this work, first of all, we work on you as a person. What's the stuff that stopped him in the past from succeeding? Go back to the scene of the crime. We've cleared all that stuff on you before we even go to the coaching part of it. We'll make sure you're in a stable place to run your own business and be a success, most important. And also during that, we concentrate on stuff you need to do and need to know about coaching. You want to be the best coach in the world? This is the program for it. And listen, it's about 30% of the price it should be. You know, for the first 3 months we decided because it's about giving back as much as we can and the information and knowledge. Look, everyone's been through it is amazed. I'm sure you'll find it amazing too. So you all know Courtney Davis, our kind of producer, an outreach person. Get hold of Courtney Davis or get hold of Janet Kelly. You all know who she is. She's this amazing wife that God knows why I'm with her because I'm not good enough, but I try every single day. So yeah, you tell us your words, Jen, about the course.
Oh my gosh!
Right.
Not only do we love being with our clients, but this is actually one of Dr. Rob and I's favorite things to do is be with you all and supporting you in your personal transformation and then supporting others to transform their lives in the addiction recovery world. Because look, we're all recovering from something, us included. So we really, really, really feel strong about the transformation about you first and then supporting other people. So check us out. You can check it out at recovermecoaching.com, or you can call Janet Kelly and she can give you all the information, or you can call me as well. And I'm happy to have that conversation with you.
And don't forget, guys, if you're sat on going, oh, there's no way, I'm not confident enough. I know I can't do this. It's unbelievable. We can take care of that. That's all in the program. We take care. Plus the aftercare, we help you build a website, get the name out there. Obviously become part of our affiliate team after, where you will get, most of the guys that either finish with us or we can't take, you automatically get that. So it's a really good deal. I think it is anyway.
All right.
All right, you ready, guys? I know what you're thinking. Who's on the show today, Dr. Rob? Well, I'm telling you, it's Dr. Richard Shuster, such an amazing guy. I was on his show some weeks ago. But has a great story, but also the stuff he's doing now is mind-blowing. And you know me, guys, I'm always into the latest brain science and stuff like that about alcoholism and addiction, because I think we've only scratched the surface when it comes to the mind game. Everyone thinks it's about the substance. It's not. It's about our brain, remap brain from trauma and remap neural pathways to self-sabotage. So quick break, guys. We're going to come back. Richard Shuster is on the show. Stick around. Welcome back, guys. This is the Recovery Channel podcast. Comes to you live every week on a Friday around 11 or noon. Yes, it's not Friday today. Why have you done that, Rob? We're so busy at the moment, me and Jen, that we've had to move it to Thursday only this week. We'll be back to our regular spot. Hope you're enjoying the show so far. Richard Shuster is on the show. Good morning, Dr. Richard. How are you?
Good morning, Dr. Rob. I'm outstanding. How about yourself?
You go, Jen.
Let me hear.
Hey, no,
she's speaking for you. She's going to tell you.
I'm living the dream.
You are. Okay.
I'm living the dream.
Living the dream. No, I'm doing really good. Thanks for asking, Dr. Richard. I'm really curious. Talk to me about what it is to have full wellness. You know, if we were to look at it from a wholeness standpoint, what is wellness?
You know, wellness is a term that gets thrown around by everybody these days.
Mm-hmm.
And really, wellness, if you look at the empirical literature, wellness is really a blend of homeostasis in a variety of areas. Those include your relationships. Those include your physical well-being, your emotional health, your financial health. It's the blend of all of those things, because any one of them can throw us completely off kilter. And so it's not just because you say, oh, well, I don't eat fast food. Well, good for you. But you know, if you're doing a lot of other things that are out of alignment with what one should be doing, you're going to be lacking wellness. So wellness is really just, it's almost like a wheel of all of these different areas. And if any one of those spokes is off, the wheel's going to fall off the cart.
So take us back to when it all started with you. I know you're heavily involved with lots of stuff, wellness, addiction. So take us back to where it all started and where you became interested in doing what you do for a living today.
So it's a long and ridiculous story, 20-something years ago. And at the time, you probably wouldn't have wanted me on the show because I was a jerk and very grandiose. I had just won a government contract with the DOD that I had no business winning. I was too young. I was too immature. It went to my head extraordinarily quickly. I'd come home and I'd get on eBay and I'd look up all these islands that I was going to buy and name after myself. Honest to God, those are the stupid things I did. And, you know, in this contract with the DoD, I wasn't building bombs. This was software for the Army Medical Division. And then as I was doing that, I was in a horrific car accident and I broke my spine. And it was one of those moments that changed the entire trajectory of my life. One, I'm lucky that I survived, and even more lucky that I'm intact, that I can walk and that I'm functional. But that began a journey for me in which I began focusing on helping others. I spent some time in your neck of the woods, Dr. Rob, got my master's in social work there down there at UTSA in San Antonio.
Oh. That's my wife's college.
Yeah, it's awesome. And so, you know, I worked with Hurricane Katrina evacuees, and that was powerful. And I was in this world of helping people. And that kind of evolved for me. Yes, I went on and I got my doctorate. I'm a clinical psychologist with subspecialties in forensic and neuropsychology. But it was really about having a broader reach, doing more. And I started a podcast called The Daily Helping. And then very quickly, NBC Health got a hold of me. It was dumb luck, candidly, and really rapidly expanded my audience. And it was at that point that I said, okay, people are listening to my show in 150 countries. I have a responsibility to leverage that platform to help people in as many different ways as I can. And so at the time when I had just started my show and that all started happening, I was still doing the forensic work. I was working and the courts would say to me, Dr. Shuster, take a look at this person, tell us if they're a drug addict and if we should take their kids away from them. That was very often the question that was posed to me. And it's heavy, right? So we as assessors, as clinicians, always are trying to use the best available resources to make the most informed decisions so that the court knows how to proceed efficiently and effectively. And one of the instruments, which is a widely used, I won't name it, but a widely used addiction tool, frankly, sucks. And it's extremely pejorative, and all it does is rubber stamp people. You're a drug addict or you're not a drug addict. And that's basically it. And so that's not helpful for anybody. And I called them and I got the leadership of that company on the phone, I think only because they recognized my name. And I said to them, you know, this tool could be so much more than it is. what if you focused on resiliency? What if you focused on people who are struggling with addiction? What if you focused on their strengths? And they laughed me off the phone. Dr. Schuster, there's no money in resiliency and strengths, because the way the system is set up, it's everything is paid by finding things wrong with people. They find these things wrong, they can assign a diagnostic code to that, then people can pay into the treatment, and it's this revolving door. You know as well as I do that 86% of people who walk into a regular treatment facility, not yours, but the run-of-the-mill facility, they're back on the streets in like less than, or they're back in, excuse me, the center in less than 6 weeks. And so when they were kind of laughing at my statement about strengths, I just said, fine, I'll do it myself. What? They're all like, what? And then I can hung up the phone. And so I had started a technology company, and I really wanted to be disruptive. I wanted to be the Michael Dell of the assessment industry, which is an industry that I dislike greatly. Historically, it's controlled by just a couple of people. It's extremely greedy. People who need access to the tools can't get access to the tools. They're designed to find things wrong with them because that's how the financial system feeds more assessments. And so I wanted to create a very different breed of assessment, and we created one for the addiction recovery world called Pulsar, which stands for Predictor of Long-Term Success in Addiction and Recovery. And we're very proud of this, because what Pulsar does is it has the diagnostic and the clinical piece, which you have to have that tool. But in addition to providing these kind of clinical risk factors, we show an individual the things most likely to help them remain sober, as well as the potential challenges they may face that could cause relapse, in addition to being the only tool in the world that also addresses the impact of racial discrimination in addiction recovery. And so, again, this was born out of an industry that has done the same thing for decades, the same thing that doesn't work, to assign labels to people. And so I wanted my company to be different. And we built the tool, we empirically validated the tool, and now, this is a largely B2G endeavor, and it's my goal, through grants, to be able to have this to be available for free, essentially, to anybody struggling with addiction anywhere who needs this. So it's a very different space than I would have ever imagined myself being. I would have never thought in graduate school I would be creating these tools. But again, I have just this thing inside of me that when the little voice, and it's not a auditory hallucination, but when the little voice is telling me you have to do something because nobody else is, I take action. And so that's how I'm doing what I'm doing in the addiction world.
I love that. And talk to me about how that. So just let me give you a little background information on me. My kids, both recovering heroin addicts, spent 16 different stints in rehab and jail and different things like that. I'll tell you, I'm curious if an assessment like yours, I mean, I want to comprehend all of it, and this is not to judge, but when we have these assessments, are they really looking at the trauma and what is causing the addiction?
So the answer to that is, trauma is always a piece of that. What we say, and there's different schools of thought. If you come from a lens of cognitive behavior therapy, your position is grab the guts and the head will follow, right? So whereas you're not really trying to peel back the layers of the onions, where some of the other really more involved therapeutic modalities do. With Pulsar, we are not saying that Pulsar is going to fix your trauma, but what we do is we identify the emotional distress, and it really is a system, because the other piece of this is we have components designed to help the family with addiction, and the other piece that's important, and I tell everybody this with all of our assessments in the various sectors where we're in, we are a lantern. Imagine you walk into a cave and you have no source of light whatsoever. You're going to trip over that tree stump that's 3 feet in front of you, and bust your elbow or your knee or something when you fall. So we are the lantern that illuminates all of the obstacles and all of the gifts that people have. Because with the lantern, you also get to see that gold deposit 8 feet in and 2 feet off to the right that you would not have otherwise seen. And so we are designed to be intervention agnostic. That is, a system like what you guys do, and other people are using us in various ways who have their different treatment modalities. We're not trying to be clinicians and doing the intervention. There's enough research that's out there. You guys know, everybody listening to this knows. One's trauma, and trauma is often misrepresented, because trauma doesn't just mean that somebody stuck a gun to your head in the back of an alley. Trauma is relative to the individual. Trauma is personal. What you might consider trauma, Jennifer, Dr. Rob might not, and the person listening to this might not. So trauma is an essential component to address, and we recommend in whoever uses our tools. And I'm not trying to be an infomercial and pitch my tool, but I'm just, you asked, so I'm trying to explain. The important thing is that there is conjunctive therapeutic intervention or a program that can diffuse the trauma, because the reality is, that if you don't move that from the emotional part of the brain more in towards the front, where there's executive functioning, and manage those traumatic feelings, you have left. It's like those old minefields, right? Those, people will find a mine in some village in the UK randomly, or a bomb that never went off that, the Germans dropped somewhere. That's always there. And it's critical to address that trauma component, because one of the largest risk factors remains ever present if you don't.
Right.
I like that. I like it, guys. Quick break from Take 12 Radio. We'll be right back.
Wait, you want some more?
Hey guys, welcome back. This is Recovery Channel Podcast. My name is Dr. Rob, the Addiction Doctor, along with Jennifer Lovely. Special guest this week is Dr. Richard Shuster. That was Take 12 Radio, the longest running radio program regarding alcoholism. Pretty good. That's for Monty. Take12radio.com. It's not an advertisement. This is not a money advertisement or anything like that. We just like this guy. So he's absolutely awesome. Dr. Richard, I want to get I ask people a question and they shrink. What's your take on treatment centers as a whole?
I kind of teased it earlier. I'm not a fan, because there is financial incentive to get people right back in as quickly as they can. Now, I don't believe, so number one, this is not a tinfoil hat thing. This is simply an economics thing. I don't believe that peer support specialists or addiction counselors walk into a facility who hires them, as part of this grand scheme to sabotage one's recovery. That's not true. There's some wonderful people out there doing wonderful, wonderful work. However, we know this, right? The data is pretty clear that what most of these centers are doing is inefficacious, right? The relapse numbers are absurd.
Yeah.
and so, if they're just revolving doors, and then consider that each time a person comes back, there's that much less hope and optimism for the individual that they're going to have any kind of success with it. Because if you've gone through it and you sit in your little group with all your little folding chairs in a circle, and and you come right back in 6 weeks later, 12 weeks later, 16 weeks later, it's the same thing over and over again. And so it's don't understand, well, you understand, but what a lot of people don't understand is there are heavy biological and neurobiological underpinnings to addiction. You know, one of the things that we've recently become to learn more about, we've come to learn about these are mirror neurons. We didn't know what mirror neurons were 20 years ago, but mirror neurons can have a massive impact on addiction. And for those of you who've never heard of mirror neurons, these are these little guys hanging out in our brains that are seeking sameness. That the fancy term is homeostasis, but essentially they are looking to find something that keeps our bodies safe in the same place they always are and stable. I'll give you a really fun example of this. If you took two people and you put them on a New York City subway, they might make eye contact with each other, and if they do, it's usually like that angry, I'm constipated face, because that's what people do on subways, right? Take those two same people and put them in Yankee Stadium in the same clothes. And when the Yankees win a game with a walk-off home run, those same two people are high-fiving and hugging. That's mirror neurons. So that's a silly sports example of mirror neurons. But mirror neurons, if you're struggling with addiction, mirror neurons are going to be seeking, like kind of the way the Terminator viewed the world. He's always scanning things. Mirror neurons are going to find people and environments that you don't even realize feel comfortable for you, that are similar to what you've been doing. So it's so essential that sameness is thrown out the window when treating addiction. It's so essential that we help people understand, above and beyond saying, hey, just don't go to that neighborhood. Like that does such a disservice to people just to say things like that. It's so much deeper. And you mentioned the trauma. That's another layer of complexity. There are all these things that are interconnected that most treatment facilities never even scratch the surface of.
No, and why would they? I mean, there's just, I look at it, they're running a business. If they're successful, they're bankrupt within 12 months. There's no money in recovery. If the pharmaceutical companies can't give us a pill or charge you $30,000 to go into a treatment center, nobody wants to know. I kind of same scenario when you go out somewhere, like seaside or out wherever with a load of guys on the bus, all your friends, and you get to the place, you go out, you have a great day, you get back on the bus. Which seat do you sit in? Exactly the one that you came in. And people don't understand that. We always go back. That mirroring part of the brain always wants to recognize something that it wants to recognize. So new faces, change, stuff like that, especially when you're working on trauma, it's not going to work unless you go deep into it. And I think that's what's missing from the addiction world is not a lot of people. There's a handful of people out there, me and you included, Dr. Richard and Jennifer and Susan and Billy and John. Well, there's a handful of people out there that are doing this for the right reasons. But I'm telling you now, after 30 years of experience, it's a lonely walk, and it's very hard to change the perception of addiction, and especially in the medical fraternity. You go to your doctor now and ask, am I an alcoholic? It's the only self-diagnosed illness in the world. But if he said yes and sends you to AA or treatment center, I mean, that's it. They can't help you. The doctor can't really help it. Now he might try and sell you Vivitrol. Right, as if that's going to work. But I'm just saying, we need to take a new look at the addiction world itself and ask ourselves, are we really helping those who need it, or are we just financing for the people behind it?
And financing for the people that can afford it.
That's right.
Yes.
They can afford treatment, get really good treatment, and then they can do the deeper work of trauma work. But for, the people out there of color, of any color for that matter, aren't going to get the same treatment. And aren't going to get the same treatment when they stand in court looking at 10 days a prison sentence like my two white children did. I'm very aware of the fact that they would have had a different experience if they were of a different color. So,
Hey guys, we're running out of time. Dr. Richard got a hard stop at 12:30. He was gracious enough to come on today for us. So I want to thank Dr. Richard Shuster, such an amazing guy. And I want to direct you to the website. So if you look at the bottom of the screen, you'll see his website there. Jump on there. He's doing some amazing things. He's walking the same path we're walking. And guys, that we like them sorts of people. So I'm going to say bye-bye and get you on your way, Dr. Richard. But I'm telling you something. We're going to have you back, and we're going to have you back for the full hour because you've got a lot more to say than you could fit in today. And it's all interesting stuff. So thank you for being on the show, man. And thank you for what you do, man. You just
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Right back at both of you. You guys are awesome, and we'll talk soon.
Bye.
Yes, sir. And don't forget, we're going to come after you. We're going to find out where you. We're going to definitely get you back. It's absolutely.
I'll be back. Take care.
Take care. Bye bye.